anybody, but I've received word that somebody on the tram is in the witness protection program and you were hiding out from a really bad guy named Owen Shaw. We're going to try to help you hide out. We're going into Sullivan's Truck Repair. I'm surprised it's where we're hiding. It's like a Northern Street recent party hanging out in the back lot. Hear the music there for the party. Just shot on the insides of sound stages on our front lot. They came out here to Wisteria Lane to film the exterior scenes. Also, the real name of this street is not Wisteria Lane at Universal. It's actually called Colonial Street. It's been around a lot longer than the Desperate Housewives have and used by a lot of other productions throughout the years. This cul-de-sac we're entering right now is the newest part of the street, built between seasons 1 and 2 of Desperate Housewives. Mindy Kaling's been using the street recently. You guys know Mindy. She was Kelly on The Office, but she was also a writer and producer. Streets back in the silent film era when sounds did not matter. A different film could be shot on each street at the exact same time. So 6 films could be shot at once. Is not about the halfway mark. I'm required to remind everybody to stay seated. The studio is private property. If you drop your phone or can't wait to use the restroom, pull the cord to get my attention. I'll be back to assist you. Otherwise, remain seated on the tram. Now, earlier in the tour, I told you guys out here on the back lot, the world's around the corner at every turn. It's very true right now. We just left the Old West, and now we're headed to Little Europe, where a little set decoration makes a really big difference.
Mi chiamo Jimmy Fallon e tu una grossa bottiglia di vino. Mamma mia!
Same location.
Je m'appelle Jimmy Fallon. Je vais été baguette.
Same location.
Hallo, ich bin Jimmy Fallon. Ausschnitzen. Ich glaub, die steht auf mir.
So a lot of cool stuff is shot back here on the streets of Little Europe, but I'll start with the most recent and obvious. This is The Good Place.
You, Eleanor Shellstrop, are dead.
Cool.
This location, the afterlife, come on. I have never ever seen this. You're in the good place.
I'm not supposed to be here. I can't risk going to the bad place.
Maybe it's not all that bad.
How can I help you?
What is the bad place like?
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
If you're a fan of the show, the train stations around this corner to your left plays a big part, especially in season 1 of the show. So this is what Little Europe looks like, bright, shiny, new, and in color for The Good Place. But the original monster movie films also shot back here. Frankenstein, Dracula, The Wolfman, The Invisible Man, Bride of Frankenstein, The Hunchback. Universal basically invented the monster movie genre, and we continue with it to this day. We actually have a new Invisible Man coming out in a few weeks starring Elizabeth Moss. So in a second, I'll show you guys some clips of what Little Europe looked like in the Frankenstein original films. But first, to your left, we're passing by a normal-looking house. This is the set for Hallmark Channel's Home and Family. They're a talk show. They film over there Monday through Friday. Here's what they look like.
Hey, Universal Studios fans, I'm Cameron Matheson.
And I'm Debbie Matnoblis from the Emmy-nominated television show Home and Family.
Join us as we go behind the scenes with your favorite actors, musicians, and celebrity chefs.
Plus amazing DIYs, fun fashions, and so much more.
Make sure to watch Home and Family on Hallmark Channel every weekday.
So it's kind of funny that they film right next door to...
That amount of visual information, that number of pixels, and presenting them to the audience, it's a hell of a ride.
So you can take off your 3D glasses, but don't lose them. Hold on. We do keep some dinosaurs back here. Keep your eyes peeled. They're in their cage. Ooh, that cage is empty. Oh, so is that one. Uh-oh. They might have gotten out. So the mobile lab unit we passed back there, I said it dangled precariously over a cliff in the film The Lost World, but the cliff was not a cliff. Here's the scene. That cliff is actually a parking garage on our front lot we drove by a few minutes ago. Also looking at the scene, you notice the lighting is dark and they use rain. They use a lot of rain in the first few Jurassic Park films. The rain helped make the dinosaurs look even more terrifying and creepy than they do just on their own as plain old dinosaurs. Weather plays an important role in setting the right mood for a scene, but when we need to create the weather for the scene, it's an interesting challenge. Doing a little bit more on weather is the Today Show's Al Roker.
Hi everybody, here's today's forecast for the Universal Backlot. It's going to be sunny and dry in 6 Points, Texas. Cool and cloudy in Little Europe. Expect snow and sleet on New York Street, and we've got a high chance of fog and precipitation for Skull Island, Amity Island, and Isla Nublar. That's your forecast for today. Now here's a look at what's going on in your neck of the lot.
You know what's happening here? Our in Old Mexico, it's raining. Al says flash flood warning. What? That can't be right. You guys can see the rain to your left isn't real. That rain is just the result of an overhead sprinkler system. It's just shooting the water up in the air, then it falls down to the earth in a natural looking way, just using gravity. On screen, this looks real. It's exactly how we create rain for TV and film. However, this is a really old part of our lot. We're actually not supposed to let this effect go on for too long. It's weird stuff's happened back here before. So guys, can we get the rain effects if you're back from me? Oh, I don't think they're back. Uh-oh, everybody hold on. We did have a flash flood. Al Roker was right. That one wasn't real either though. That's recycled water being released from tanks at the top of the hill. Here's what that looked like in Big Fat Liar.
You can't run the wall, kid! Yeah, we'll see about that.
Old Mexico's also been seen in Nacho Libre with Jack Black, Three Amigos with Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Chevy Chase, and Criminal Minds Beyond Borders. We're crossing the border right now onto the streets of the Old West. Welcome to 6 Points, Texas, y'all. If you're a Western fan, this is the part of our backlot for you. Countless TV and film Western shot back here in 6 Points, Texas, and big Western stars walk these streets. So did Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio in Quentin Tarantino's latest film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. They worked back here for a few weeks on that. But here's another old-fashioned Western duel that's shot back here.
This town ain't big enough.
And because we're about to return to Sky.
Yes, everybody, just make sure you got your glasses. Also make sure you got a good hold on all of your belongings. Once we go in, there's no telling what's going to happen to us in there. Remain seated at all times. Please no use of flash and enjoy the ride.
Glasses on, everybody. We're going to Skull Island.
And here's what Frankenstein's monster looked out, hanging out in Little Europe.
Listen now, the monster. He's in the woods. Get out the bloodhounds. Raise all the men you can, lock the women indoors, and wait for me. I'm ready! Go! Your horses and go!
And now we're on our back streets of 6 Points, Texas. It's actually right where we are right now, where the tram is, where Brad Pitt's character drops off Leonardo DiCaprio's character for his day of filming on Lancer in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And after all those monsters, I think we have earned ourselves a vacation. Let's go somewhere cool, calm, and peaceful, a place where nothing bad ever happened. Ooh, I see a billboard coming up on your left. It looks pretty nice. Let's go there. Amity Island. What a great idea. Nothing bad ever happened there. Okay, I'm lying. That's where that really mean shark from Jaws was. But we got nothing to worry about. They caught him. He's hanging up right over there. Ha 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 ha. You can't get us. So my buddy George is out there in the water right now by the boat. He's doing a sweep, just making sure everything's okay. He's gonna pop up, give us the thumbs up. That means if we want to, we can actually, Ooh, did we not catch the right shark? Hey George, maybe you should get out of the water, get into the boat. George, can you hear me? George, George! Oh no, you guys. That's my buddy George. Oh, he had a lot of guts being out there. Oh, I see that gross. Okay, everybody remain seated. We gotta go somewhere safer, further on the pier. Let's hide behind the gas tanks. George told me earlier they attached some bait to that yellow barrel out there. Yeah, it looks like he's taking it. George, bye George. You were an okay friend. Like I said, Shark's really old. You all knew he was going to pop up like that. But when he does pop up, he still manages to scare a lot of people, at least a little bit, right? The shark still does his job pretty well. A shark that did not do its job very well, though, was Bruce, the mechanical shark from the set of Jaws. On the very first day of filming Jaws, Bruce sank to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Why? Do you remember the soundstage I told you about on the front lot where Spielberg tested the shark? He tested it there in freshwater, and he should have tested it in salt water. The salt in the ocean messed everything up. So Bruce sank to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. The crew started calling Jaws flaws, and production was pushed back 100 days behind schedule. Here's Mr. Spielberg.
That's a much maligned shark. The shark was frustrating. It didn't really work all the time. It didn't work hardly.
Runs on a fairly quick schedule. One episode takes anywhere from about a week, maybe 2 weeks tops to complete from the first read through to the final taping. Film is a completely different story. Film takes months, sometimes years to complete. We need hundreds of people to help complete them. Some of those people work to your left in our production bungalows. These bungalows used to be dressing rooms to Hollywood's top stars like Rock Hudson, Doris Day, Jimmy Stewart, and Tony Curtis. They're now where Hollywood's top writers, producers, and directors come to work every day. Illumination Entertainment works here. They brought us all the Despicable Me films, The Minions, The Secret Life of Pets, and Sing. Robert Zemeckis recently worked here. He directed Back to the Future and Forrest Gump. But don't miss this next bungalow coming up on your left, Bungalow 5195. You want to look down next to the door. You're going to see a familiar portrait. That bungalow used to belong to Mr. Alfred Hitchcock, being comparable director of such classic films as Psycho, Rear Window, Vertigo, and The Birds.
My name is Alfred Hitchcock.
And now to your left, we are next to some new offices and sound stages. These were built about 3 years ago. The first production in them was here. Left, those bricks, none of those are real. Most of the bricks and stones used in our backlot sets are either made out of foam rubber, so they're soft and squishy bricks when you touch them, or they're made out of a fiberglass exterior. We want to be able to change the looks of these sets kind of quickly and cost effectively, because we want to reuse them a lot without you recognizing them. Next area to your left we call London Square. We call it London because the buildings look a lot like Parliament. Down the street to your left, that's a popular filming location down there. That's Brownstone Street. It's where Jim Carrey lived and Bruce Almighty.
Close the door! I'm in the shower! Inside bed. Outside. Inside.
Am I Psycho, or is that, yeah, that's Norman Bates. Ooh, what is he up to? Oh no. Uh-oh. Okay, we're going. Bye, Norman. Super rude. No, we're leaving. We're leaving. The Bates Hotel and Psycho House are two examples of two of the oldest, most classic sets still standing in Hollywood today. As we turn the corner, we turn into one of the most colossal movie sets ever constructed. The plane crash site from Steven Spielberg's movie posters on either side of the tram represent just a few of the thousands of films that Universal has produced throughout the years. It's an exciting time to be here at Universal. We recently entered our second century of filmmaking. That all started back in 1912 with this guy on your screens waving his hat. That's Mr. Carl Laemmle, our founder. So we founded this on the East Coast, found out the weather was better for filming out here on the West Coast, moved out here, and we officially opened up to the public on March 15, 1915. The studio tour officially started in 1964. Carl Laemmle called Universal City the strangest city in the world. We have our own fire station to your right, our own sheriff's station, and our own zip code. And as we continue down our timeline, at the tops of these movie posters, you'll notice our iconic Universal Globe logo. It's aging and evolving as the studio ages down the timeline. Our first few years of films didn't open with that logo, but nowadays it's hard to imagine a Universal film not starting this way. And we are headed towards our front lot right now. Our films are made inside of our sound stages. One of our films is up for the Best Picture Oscar tonight. The Oscars are tonight. We won it last year for Green Book. This year it's for 1917. But we don't just do film, we also do TV. Nowadays we are NBC Universal, and one of our biggest TV shows is the singing competition The Voice. Their home is to your left inside of Soundstage 12. That's the biggest soundstage we have on the lot, one of the largest in the world. Some really big sets have been inside of it throughout the years. Like Frankenstein's Lab, Dracula's Castle, Scarface's Mansion, and the Visitor Center from Jurassic Park. This was done about a year ago by an LA artist named Tristan Eaton. He's famous for these types of big murals. You can find him on Instagram. It's an homage to our monster movie films, because Universal basically invented the monster movie genre, so our big guys are up there. We'll talk a little bit more about our monster history later on in the tour when we're near an area where those films shot a lot. But now we're turning onto the streets of New York City. I think my co-host Jimmy Fallon knows a little something about living and working in New York, because that is where he films The Tonight Show. So live from New York, here's Jimmy.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York. I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. Once got mugged over there. An old woman, tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. Hey, I'm walking here. I'm walking here. Hey, it's cool guys. I was just, just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
There's another view of Brownstone Street to your right. A lot of cool TV shows and films are shot out here in our Metro set. Shows like NCIS, How I Met Your Mother, Comedy Central's Key and Peele, American Ninja Warrior, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Also really big films like Captain America, The First Avenger, Transformers, Spider-Man, Fate of the Furious, and Hobbs and Shaw. So we call this New York, but it could be any city we dress it up to be. Hobbs and Shaw dressed it up as London for the big motorcycle chase. Hairspray Live, it was Baltimore.
Sí. Muy chévere. A ver, salgamos los tres de ahí. Santa Mónica. A ver, saluden.
¿Está grabando?
Claro.
It's actually really nice.
On your left, that's a real 747 airplane.
The airplane crash site set is a perfect example of a set that is all designed around a vision of Stephen Hawking.
You forget to sit down to talk about the world. I thought, what if the 747 goes down right in a big neighborhood? Because it's just something you don't see.
You're doing good. You're doing good. Keep noticing me. Listen now, man. Listen, I want you to close your eyes, okay? Okay, I'm closed.
Slowly.
Robbie, get in. Get in.
So we're now about 10 minutes away from the end of the tour. Just a reminder, pull the emergency cord if you need assistance and remain seated. So we're pulling out now onto Steven Spielberg Drive, and back and to your right there is a humongous blue wall. That is the world's largest freestanding green screen or blue screen. There's a really big pit in front of it. Get a better view of that around the... And the Grinch was a really bad neighbor. But if you ask me, the Who's of Whoville have a much worse neighbor out there on the back lot. Because on the back lot, they live next door to a Psycho. They live next door to Norman Bates, star of Alfred Hitchcock's classic thriller Psycho.